What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about would it be a weak move for Kawhi Leonard to go team up with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and become a Los Angeles Laker. So let's see what they have to say about that.
Would it be a weak move for Kawhi to join LeBron and AD in LA?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would be a weak move. We have to be consistent. We can't sit up there and look at KD going to the Golden State Warriors with 73 wins and what have you, chasing a title, and then ignore that with Kawhi Leonard. Now, here's the difference. Kawhi has 2 rings, so he's not necessarily chasing a ring. But nevertheless, the balance of power conversation is almost identical.
Okay, Stephen A. Smith, would you be so worried about the balance of power in the NBA if all 3 of those guys were playing for the New York Knicks? Because I don't think you would. So let's continue.
Just like KD going to Golden State, joining a 73-9 team, loaded and elite. Clearly, this is different. This is more reminiscent of the move LeBron made to Miami because him, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh hadn't played together. Just like if Kawhi went to L.A., Kawhi, AD, and LeBron would not have played together. But it would so drastically shift the balance of power in the NBA. There would not be a discussion, Max, about who was going to win the title. The Lakers would be the prohibitive favorites. It would almost be unfair against 99% of the league to be on the court against that Lakers squad with those 3. And I think as a result of that, it would be viewed as being incredibly weak. I think that the Clippers would be a more fair move.
So let me get.
So first off, Stephen A. Smith, you can't make any weak moves when you're coming off a championship and you're the defending Finals MVP. You can make stupid ones, but there are no weak moves when you're the defending champion and Finals MVP. So if Kawhi Leonard wants to go to the next best team and they're stacked, that's cool because he's already proved himself by winning a championship last year and becoming the Finals MVP. If Kawhi Leonard wants to go to the weakest team, that's fine, but that's okay too, because he's got nothing to prove. He took care of business last year. He's a champion. He's a defending Finals MVP, so you can make whatever type of moves you want. Now he can make stupid moves. A stupid move would probably be for him to go to a trash team and play with them when he could stay with the Toronto Raptors and at least try to run it back. So as far as that, there's no weak moves, but he can just make stupid moves, which I don't think he'll do. And as far as the balance of power, and if he would have joined the Lakers with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you can't say that just because they all team up together that they're necessarily going to win the championship and the NBA is not going to be fun anymore because they're a super team and they're expected to win. Because everybody was saying the same exact thing last year about the Golden State Warriors, about Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Boogie Cousins and Draymond Green. They're supposed to win it. They're supposed to three-peat again. But guess what happened? Guess what? Injuries popped up. All those injuries popped up, and they messed around, and they lost to the Toronto Raptors. So you can't say just because Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis all playing for the Lakers that they're going to be a super team and they're going to win it all because you don't know what could happen. So let's continue.
This straight.
Mm-hmm.
KD didn't play in these finals, correct?
Correct.
Basically not.
Correct.
And
only
which
played 11
team?
minutes.
but they did have Steph.
Right.
Made a
and
difference.
mostly had Clay.
Correct.
And Draymond and Iguodala, right? So it was largely the same cast, even though they're a little older, as the 73-win Warriors.
Okay.
Before they got KD, which was the 73-win Warriors.
Okay.
Would you say that's a powerhouse? Would you say a team like that minus KD, since you're complaining about super duper teams, let's call them?
Mm-hmm.
That if you peeled KD off, Stephen A., would you agree that team should be able to fight for a title? That the team, when you peel KD off, should be able to fight for a title? Steph, Clay, Draymond, Iguodala, that's enough to fight?
Yes.
And that's a more fair situation,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
That's a team Kawhi Leonard just beat for the title.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, Kawhi Leonard, you say he already has the rings, he's not chasing rings. It's not simply an issue of his having rings.
Mm-hmm.
It's what those rings prove about you that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Players who play in an era with other great players and wind up ringless, they're correctly put below players who have rings. Stockton and Malone and Hornacek with a coach, played together forever, ringless. You know why? Mm-hmm. That's because none of them are as good as Hakeem Olajuwon. Mm-hmm. I know I'm being one of these meathead sports guys who's saying, a ring proves everything. No. That's real. Mm-hmm. When you look at who can elevate a team and take them to a championship. So KD, by going to the Warriors, reverse engineered it all and was like, okay, I got rings, therefore I'm great. No, KD, what did you prove by getting those rings? You couldn't have lost. Kawhi's ring proves, his first one proved he was a good young player, an excellent young player on a championship team, and he guarded the other team's best player. His second ring proved he could take a team over the top and be the best player on a championship team. Why would this be weak to go join the Lakers now? He's proved it already.
Exactly, that wouldn't be weak. Let's take a look at Kawhi Leonard again. So his first rings were with the Spurs. That Spurs team was stacked. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. He had Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. They were stacked. And Kawhi Leonard put in work against LeBron James, and that's why he got Finals MVP. He did a great job. But let's not deny that team was not stacked. And as far as last year with Kawhi Leonard winning the championship with the Toronto Raptors, let's be honest here. He did not face the full-fledged Golden State Warriors because obviously Kevin Durant was out, Klay Thompson was there in and out. Andre Iguodala was hurt for a good portion of the time. Kevon Looney was hurt. So they were dealing with a lot of injuries. So if you really want to start splitting hairs, you can start putting asterisks next to Kawhi Leonard's championships. I hate to do it, but it just has to be said. But as far as him making weak moves, I can't see him making any weak moves. He can't. Like I said, he's the defending champion and the defending Finals MVP. So you could do whatever you want. And it doesn't matter because you've proven yourself. Now, as far as Kevin Durant argument, Kevin Durant, he went to this team and, they can't lose. They can't lose. Well, what happened to Kevin Durant before he got there? If it's all about Kevin Durant, and if you have Kevin Durant, you're guaranteed to not lose. How come Kevin Durant, slow down. How come Kevin Durant couldn't win in OKC? Everybody talks about him being in OKC, but what's starting to look like right now, every year, it's starting to look like Westbrook was a problem because Westbrook hasn't been able to make it out of the first round the past 3 years and definitely ever since Kevin Durant left. So the problem was Westbrook, but let's not put it all on Kevin Durant like, if you have Kevin Durant, you're going to win because if that was the case, he would have won with OKC. So let's continue.
Help you out with a couple of points. Point number one, when you're losing your voice, you might want to talk a little bit less until you get some tea, warm your vocal cords, and then get it maturated and all of that stuff, then you'll be all right. That's number one. There we go. That's number one. Number two, you don't get to change the narrative here. What I'm saying to you is that nobody's making the point. Nobody's disagreeing with the point that you made. The point is about right now. I'm not saying that all of a sudden you ignore the 2 titles that Kawhi Leonard has. You ignore the NBA Finals MVP. You ignore what he did with Toronto, against Golden State, against Milwaukee, against Philadelphia in the postseason. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is, as we stand here right now, looking at the landscape of the National Basketball Association, understanding what the greatness that he possesses and how that colliding or combining with LeBron and AD and what kind of impact that would have on the NBA. That's what the move is about. This is not about his legacy. This is not about his credibility as a champion. This is not in any way to question the greatness of Kawhi Leonard. This is simply to make the point that as of next season, if he were to go to the Los Angeles Lakers, you could literally make a legitimate case. Why should we watch basketball next season?
Hold up.
That's all I'm saying.
No way. Like I said, Stephen A. Smith, if Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Kawhi Leonard all play for the New York Knicks, would you be crying about the balance of power? Because I seriously doubt you would. Because for the past 2 months, you were all talking about, Kevin Durant's going to New York, and Kawhi's going to New York, and and Kyrie is going to New York, and yada, yada, yada. So, but now you want to cry about the balance of power? Like I said, if they all play for the Knicks, you wouldn't be saying a word about the balance of power. And as far as that, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, you don't know what could happen. You don't know what could happen. Injuries can pop up. You can have the best team, but injuries is a dynasty killer. Injuries is a dynasty killer. And as far as the whole thing with I forgot what I was going to say, so let's keep going.
Okay, but
that's when I'm talking. When I say weak, what I'm saying is next season you eliminate competition as opposed to confronting it next season.
And as far as the whole thing about the balance of power, that's not Kawhi Leonard's problem. That is not his problem. It's not up to him to distribute the talent in the NBA. It's not up to him. It's up to him to do what's best for his interests, which is exactly why he didn't do what he wanted to do in the Spurs. He didn't work out or he didn't play because he was hurt. They traded him or whatever. He went to Toronto Raptors and everything worked out there because they believed in him, unlike what the Spurs did. So it's not up to Kawhi Leonard to distribute the balance of power. It's up to Kawhi Leonard to do what's best in his interest. That's what everybody does. And if they just happen to make a super team, that it is what it is. It is what it is. You'd be stupid to not go to a super team if you have an opportunity to versus going to a trash team. I mean, it'd just be stupid. Because like I said, in 5 to 10 years, like I said in other videos, in 5 to 10 years to 20 years, nobody's really going to care how you got your rings. All they're going to care about is that you have rings. Because you think Charles Barkley is sitting here, you think Charles Barkley would care if he had to join a super team in the middle of his career or sometime during his career in order for him to get a ring? Do you think Karl Malone or Stockton would have cared about going to the... Wait, Karl Malone did go to the Lakers and try to get a ring. They had GP, they had Shaq, they had everybody. They had the gloves there. They had a couple people there. Shaq wasn't there, but they had a couple people there. But you don't think all these people, Reggie Miller, you don't think all these guys would have joined a super team to get a ring, at least one ring, so they can be a part of that elite club of having a ring? So you don't have to sit there across from Shaq and have Shaq dump on you because his go-to will always be like, well, Charles, you never got a ring. You never got a ring. That's Shaq's always go-to to cut down Charles Barkley. It's like, you don't have a ring, so you don't know what you're talking about. Now, you think anybody wants to be a part of that? If you have to go to a super team, you do what you have to do. As I said, Kevin Durant, nobody's going to care in 10 to 15 years how he got your ring. All they're going to know is that you have a ring. Rings. So let's continue.
What makes it weak?
Fine, I agree. I'm taking that the Lakers would be tested by different groups like that, you know, like Utah and different teams that have come together in the offseason where they've already had a team, they've added one key component.
Stop.
But I do think...
Stop. This is important. I'm sorry. This actually usurps your point because it gets right to the heart of something you've been saying. How does Max Kellerman go from saying a week ago that any team Kawhi goes to, whether he stays in Toronto, whether he goes to the Clippers, they're going to win the championship. But I just told you he would join LeBron and AD.
I just said I'd pick him to win the title.
No. But you said there are teams who would be... So in other words, Kawhi without AD and LeBron, they would be tested. But Kawhi with Toronto or the Clippers is an automatic champion?
The difference is...
How?
The difference is there are only so many minutes a single player can play. And if you lack depth, other teams can compensate for your top-end talent with depth. Although I go with you, top-end talent carries the day. But I want to make this point.
Okay.
Kawhi Leonard, since he's already proved his greatness and his legacy, look, I can take a team to the promised land. This is why it's not a weak move for him. Who did he grow up rooting for?
Lakers.
Where's he from?
Southern California.
He's not allowed, when he's a free agent in his prime, and you just saw he had an injury that could have been catastrophic.
Wait,
KD's
I have to
career.
stop you on that, because in an interview they were asked, was he a Lakers fan? And he said, no, I wasn't at all. My family was, but I wasn't. I liked Allen Iverson. I was an AI fan, so I didn't like the Lakers.
I will tell you this.
Whoop, that explains the braids, doesn't it? Let's keep going.
In fairness to you, you're not wrong in terms of what you just quoted him as saying. But the pitch that the Lakers have been telling everybody, and some of the people in the NBA have been telling everybody, is that he's been a Laker fan. That's what they said.
I mean, he definitely said his family
I don't know.
was, for sure.
I never asked him. I don't know.
The point is, he's from the area. Okay, Molly, his family were Lakers
I'm just
fans.
giving you the quote.
He rooted for Iverson against the Lakers. A lot of people did. Lakers were this power.